Good day to you all. I'm Val Kadalie from Cape Town. I'm a professional nurse by training and I'm an urban missionary. And of course, I'm a committed Neolife distributor. My husband and I joined Neolife because we needed extra money at the time our eldest daughter started university. Well, the business has done a lot more for us than that. It's developed us as people in the greatest sense. It's taught us a never give up attitude, and it's shaped our thinking in a way that's greatly impacted our daily work. I've been asked to talk about our immune systems, and so I look at it in three ways. Firstly, what was God's design of our amazing immune system? Secondly, how does Neolife product support our challenged immune systems today? And thirdly, my personal experience in the light of that. So what was God's design? He created us with an amazing immune system. It's intricate and complex, and it is His gift to us to keep us healthy when we allow it to function as He designed it to. That choice, like every other choice He gives us, is completely in our hands. Our body is comprised of approximately 100 trillion living cells, and that includes our ingenious immune system. Millions of cells are strategically located in places like the tonsils or just under the skin, and these cells anticipate invasion of any foreign organisms, and a battle begins the moment an invader enters our body. The immune system also activates a specific response through antibodies. These are extremely important proteins for fighting infection. Some cells are capable of making 20,000 antibodies per second. Isn't that incredible? So the immune system neutralizes invaders, or they cover them with thousands of antibody markers like bull's eyes that make them a target for certain destruction. That was God's design. But then mankind developed, technology developed, food manufacture and processing developed, and we compromised our perfect immune system. So what are the things that compromise our immune systems even further today? Well, sugar knocks out this protective power of the immune system and destroys the beneficial bacteria that protects us. Another is food manufacture and processing systems today, including pesticides, insecticides, toxic chemicals, environmental pollutants, to name a few. Then there are the toxic pharmaceutical drugs like chemotherapy and even certain vaccinations that affect our immune systems really badly. But because of modern living, our human bodies have become vulnerable to foreign invaders, such as bacteria, microbes, viruses, and so on. So when these infection-causing microbes break into our body, God's attack force, called the immune system, goes into immediate deadly action. Our immune system is highly adaptive. It has incredible memory and is very specific in its attack on invading harmful organisms. Our immune system has an unbelievable communication network that sends information back and forth between hundreds of millions of cells that fight off harmful invaders and remembers them for when they attack their body again. It's got incredible memory. Can you imagine that? Our immune system recognizes who is friend and who is foe, what belongs and what does not belong. So it does things like that through our white blood cells, through bone marrow, through the lymphatic systems, lymph nodes, blood systems, the spleen, etc. I mention some of those because that relates to my own story in many ways. So besides being a mighty defense force, our immune system also has sensory functions because it is able to identify and isolate harmful threats. These threats commonly invade the body through the mouth, lungs, or broken skin. The only way cancer can develop, for instance, in the first place, is when the immune system is too weak to detect and eradicate cancer cells before they multiply. Once cancer cells get past the immune system, our immunity needs to be rebuilt with good nutrition, not further harmed and damaged with chemical poisons. Neolife and the value it places on whole food nutrition plugs this gap. Well, that's the route I followed. So what are some of the ways to strengthen our immune systems in the light of the challenges we find today? One important way is to maximize on plant-based foods. Juicing raw vegetables concentrates the nutrients and allows far greater absorption and greatly increases the percentage of nutrients that reaches the cellular level. I still distill my drinking water today, but I add Neolife multi-mineral to our supplement intake. The immune system has three main lines of defense that we need to strengthen every day. The first line of defense includes your skin, the mucous membranes, and secretions. Our bodies produce caustic digestive enzymes that burn through harmful cells and destroys them. So because gut health is of paramount importance, Neolife has Acidophilus Plus that delivers a targeted solution exactly where it is needed, in the gut. Neolife Nutrients Organic and our personal care range is key because it protects the pH integrity of our skin. Vitamins like A and D protect and lubricate the delicate mucous membranes. The second line of defense includes white blood cells that overwhelm harmful organisms with sticky proteins and then swallows them. They give us warning signs like inflammation and raised body temperature when they go on attack. We have Neolife antioxidant and anti-inflammatory protection that is found in our omega-3s, carotenoids, flavonoids, cruciferous, the vitamin C's, vitamin E's, and beta-guard, for example, that help us fight free radical attacks. The third line of defense are the antibodies, which are specialized memory cells that recognize and bind and destroy previous harmful invaders that they remember from previous attacks. In addition, the immune system is designed to prevent the abnormal growth of mutant cells, such as various cancer cells. But then the immune functions go beyond simply defense and attack. Two other vital functions also reside there, like cleansing and regulating. The immune system cleanses our body from waste buildup and potential harm. So the cell membrane needs to be healthy at all times, and Neolife has 3NN for that very purpose. I will go into a bit of detail because the rest of my story illustrates the power of our immune boosting products that I experienced in my own life when many times my immune system took a severe pounding. 5 years ago, exactly after a routine one-day hospital procedure, I picked up a serious staph infection in the operating theatre. I was in theatre under general anesthesia 4 times within 1 week and nearly lost my life, but I was using Neolife and it helped my body fight this serious toxic invasion. Then 4 months later to the day, 4 years and 8 months ago, I was involved in a head-on collision with a delivery van. I sustained massive internal and external injuries and severe fracture of the leg with permanent soft tissue damage and tissue inflammation and necrosis throughout my body that I still have today. There were multiple fatalities and I and my daughter were the only survivors. It was a hugely stressful few years, and the stress of survivor guilt is something I lived with for a very long time. There were multiple, over the next 2 years, there were multiple surgeries that followed. I probably had about 10 major surgeries, all due to the complications and injuries from the accident. Can you picture the strain on my immune system? Then 2 years ago, another post-accident complication hit me. Remember, I spoke about all the internal tissue damage, the inflammation, the stresses. Well, these are huge triggers for cancers. One of the many damaged areas in my breast turned malignant. I developed a stage 3 invasive ductal carcinoma. That was what they call HER2 and FISH positive, and that's not good news. I went through the gamut of emotions, anxiety and fear for my family. I grabbed onto the doctor's treatment suggestions, which included oncology and radiology treatment that would take the next 9 to 12 months, depending on how I coped and responded. The Red Devil chemotherapy was recommended almost immediately. I was due to have the port inserted in my neck on Friday, the 23rd of March, 2018. The night before that, Charlie called around 10 p.m. and told me that God had urged him to tell me to ask the doctors to delay treatment and to give me at least 6 weeks to try to maximize on nutritional and dietary changes, and then relook at my position with regard to chemo after 6 weeks. Well, he suggested what I should do, what I should change, what I should eat. I had huge conflict because I knew exactly what he was saying, but I also wanted this demon gone. And the doctors were pursuing the Red Devil as my lifesaver. Well, Charles and I spent the next 2 hours praying and talking in our garage about changing my food and my water. And I cried out to God to give me a direct message from His Word. I told God that I didn't want to hear the familiar passages like by His stripes we were healed and so on, because then I would not know if it was just my memory and knowledge of these passages, or if it was really Him telling me what to do. It was nearly 1 a.m. when we finally went up, and I just typed the word healing into my computer. And the passage that jumped out at me was Exodus 23. I did not immediately remember the detail of the passage, so I started reading it. Now remember, we had been talking for the last 3 hours about what I would have to do to change my eating habits, my food, and my water. Then I got to verse 25, and what do you think it said? It said, I will bless your food and your water, and I will take away all illness from you and give you a full life. We both had immediate peace about this and knew that I would not go to have the chemo port inserted the next morning. Instead, I typed out the full passage and I highlighted those verses and emailed it to all the doctors, the oncologist, the radiographer. I thanked them for their help thus far, but said that I was going to take God at His word and I was going to refuse medical treatment. I told them that I would contact them again in 6 to 8 weeks for a review and talk about surgery if that was still indicated. So I maxed out on Fighter Defense, 8 sachets a day, 6 sachets a day. Well, that's 18 carotenoids easily a day, with all my other Neolife nutrition that I mentioned earlier as well. I distilled my drinking water, I juiced, I took all the other Neolife nutrition. I needed to be able to sleep really well, and I admit I took some questionable substance for that, but it did make me sleep well, so I felt good about it. After 8 weeks, miraculously, the tumor picture had changed completely, but the CT scan clearly showed that there was a few lymph nodes that were affected as well. So I agreed to surgery, but I told him to wait a week because we had a Bloemfontein weekend function coming up. In surgery, a pathologist was present to test the affected lymph nodes, and they repeated the test 3 times in theatre because, to their surprise, it kept on coming up negative. So they did not have to remove the other lymph nodes at all. It's exactly 2 years later, and I'm cancer-free without chemotherapy and radiation. Happily, a strong immune system is something that most of us have total control over. It all hinges on our choices. So my immune system was boosted by Neolife products without a doubt, and it saved my life. May it benefit you and others as you share this God-given opportunity for life and living. I thank you.